We have had a very impactful season at Every Home for Christ Nigeria Northwest from the year 2022 till date. The Lord has helped us to cover grounds in Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, Jigawa, and Niger. Indeed, if we were to tell our whole story, many books and many videos would not be able to contain them. But we'll give a few snippets of what the Lord has helped us to achieve over this period of time in the northwest part of Nigeria. In February 2022, the Margin Ministry of Every Home for Christ Nigeria Northwest organized a prayer conference at Lere local government area of Kaduna State. This place was a very volatile ground as terrorism by herdsmen had taken over the place. However, God gave us the victory. For this project, we translated the book How to Pray by Dick Eastman to Hausa. This was a very necessary thing to do as the people were beginning to grow weary due to the attacks of terrorists. There were a lot of widows there who had lost their husbands to terrorist attacks. Therefore, skill acquisition was carried out. These women were taught how to make petroleum jelly and they were happy. Gifts were also given to widows and Bibles were given to those who had lost theirs due to terrorist attacks. At the end of this, 123 people made a decision for God. Jesus was glorified, and even the district superintendent of Assemblies of God, Kaduna State, bore witness to the fact that nothing like this had ever been done since the inception of Lere. Homes were reached, souls were saved and won to Christ. In December of 2022, the Margin women held a Christmas project at Kofankaura of Katsina State, Manumfashi of Katsina State, and Fege local government area of Kano State. We began this endeavor with prayers and then we sprung into action. On the 19th of December 2022, we began with ladies at the brothels in Kano. We carried out humanitarian services in these brothels and souls were saved. We also reached out to people in the environment of these brothels. Amongst those who got saved are Hanatu and Valentina Felix. Valentina Felix had spent over 20 years in different countries as a sex worker. However, we preached the gospel to her and to God be the glory, she got saved. After she got saved, she stayed in the home of the Margin coordinator for 3 weeks while undergoing discipleship. After this process, through the Margin Women Project, we rented a house for her in Kaduna and set up a small business for her so that she would have a source of income. This is her testimony.
I traveled to abroad. I was going to the streets and I came back until when my mother bring me back to Nigeria that I should come and serve idol. One fateful day I came to Kano, I was in the streets where I met Every Home for Christ Magic Ministry and my life was transformed. My life was changed and my story was changed.
We also visited Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital and ministered to the marginalized disabled sitting at the gates of the hospital. This is a predominantly Muslim location which had a standing order that Christians should never preach to Muslims. However, the Holy Spirit inspired us with wisdom and we tactically presented Christ to them by giving them tracts translated into Hausa along with a relief package. We also visited the prisons and took relief items to them. In Kofankaura and Manufacture of Katsina State, we gave out bags of rice, packs of seasoning cubes, and a copy of literature and financial token to the widows. The women went home joyful, and in this location, the Lord helped us to birth a wailing prayer cell. In December 2023, we had another skill acquisition program in Niger State with the marginalized Kalambari, Bagi and Nupe women. Here, we taught them how to make cosmetic, how to make bags, and catering. Through this initiative, we were able to gather not just the Christians in that community, but also Muslims and African traditional worshippers. And of a truth, this was impactful because many of them surrendered their lives to Jesus Christ. It was a very great success, and the skills acquired by these women have gone a long way in helping them establish themselves financially. Here's what some participants of this project have to say.
My name is Patience Lawrence, a graduate of computer science. We know how the country is hard now, no employment, but by the grace of God, I met this set of people that came for a program, Christ for Every Home for Christ. And by the grace of God, they were able to train us on the other skills that would help us. And I participated in one of the classes, which was catering. And by the grace of God, I have been able to put my knowledge into practice, making of chin-chin and other snacks. And it has really been helpful. It's not necessary that I have to depend on my parents or friends. With this, I have been able to do something for myself.
Praise God. My name is Miss Elizabeth Emmanuel. I learned how to produce bags. Yeah. I thank God this very bag has been helping me to manage together with my tailoring business. I really thank God for the
Lord. My name is Mrs. Sarah Waziri. I'm a widow. When these people came to train us, God has been faithful. The product, the skills I learned was cosmetic production, especially shampoo making. I think this is the second or third product I produced. The first one during the Christmas time, I was coverless. When I sold them out, God used this to solve my family problem.
Daniel Patrick. I live in Gwada. Sometimes ago, when I came across Everyone for Christ through the Margin Project, I was opportune to participate in the training that took place, and I went to learn making of cosmetics. This is one of my products that I made, and as God will have it, God is helping us through it. We are producing and selling for other people, and we are making a living out of it.
After the first part of the Christmas project in Niger State, we moved on to Jigawa to complete it. In Jigawa, we gifted widows with wrappers and equipped them with skills. Some of these widows had resorted to depending on men for financial assistance, but now with a skill, they could become financially free and take care of themselves and even their children. This act in Jigawa State opened up an effectual door of ministry unto us, both in the Christian Association of Nigeria Jigawa State and in the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria Jigawa State. Because of this, we were granted an opportunity to lead them for 2 days during their Universal Week of Prayers, and it was a very great success. It was indeed an impactful moment. Here's what a few witnesses of this project have to say.
In December, we shared wrappers, and the wrappers really helped because many could not lay their hands to buy any clothes to celebrate Christmas with. Some could not have for their children.
Wow.
But the wrappers that were given were served in their homes. And in the other arms too, we also share rice, we share other food items. So they really celebrated the Christmas with joy in their hearts and wearing fine clothes like other families have.
And if you can see me with these clothes I'm wearing,
Yes.
it was the wrapper they gave us
Wow.
to celebrate our Christmas.
When we had a wonderful program by December, when widows were all around, a lot of packages was given to widows. When I saw when they were doing the distribution of clothes, they gave a lot of women clothes, and then the women were happy, they were encouraged. When the program was running up again, there was one widow. We contacted her and we tell her the importance to attend this program. Only for us to discover that the woman had broke down sick and badly sick. It was so encouraged, and I was so excited. We all went with the team. And we just only to see the woman there. They prayed for this woman. And I was so excited that after 3 days, I live in that environment. After 3 days, I saw the woman going out on the street. And I was so encouraged. And I was stand under God to say, I was in a home cell when this woman was able to testify how God used people to pray and how God helped her. That's
In Jigawa State, we also visited the Evergreen Orphanage Home and gifted them with some items to celebrate the Christmas with. In January 2024, the Margin Prayer Conference was another event of tremendous worth. The aim of this conference was to strengthen and encourage believers who had been affected by the incessant violence of bandits and terrorist groups. This violence had led believers away from God into seeking physical protection through traditional means. This conference took place in Kaduna and Jigawa states. The faith of many was strengthened, and we were able to inaugurate 2 margin prayer cells, one in Kaduna and one in Jigawa. Here's what a few witnesses of this prayer conference have to say.
Hello, my name is Deaconess Plagnan Eze. I am the president for the Fellowship of Christian Nurses Jigawa, as well as the financial secretary, Christian Association of Nigeria Women Wing. I want to bless the name of the Lord for the program that the Imagine Women brought to Duse. And during the February edition of the prayer conference, I personally was in attendance. And I would want to say that it was one of the first prayer conference that were able to have women from every local government in attendance. And all through the period of that conference, it was an impactful one. One, for myself, I was able to see a professional trying to balance her spiritual aspect of her life and her career. That made a great impact for me as a person. And one of the key things that I think I took, and so many women took out of that conference, was when we had the topic about essentiality of prayer. I think every woman kept ringing on that. And I want to say that it has created an impact that I want to give a testimony. We had our Christian Association of Nigeria, Dutse local government meeting 2 Sundays ago. And we had 2 women testifying about how their prayer life and the outcome of that impact have impacted them. One was able to tell us that she had a child that was a challenged child, that she felt pushing him away was the best option. But she said she learned something when the prayer point was raised concerning how to manage our children if they have issues. And she said something, and I could lay it back on the impact of the conference. She said she felt she could no longer act on her own, but she needs to change the way that she approached it. And she took the message from that conference to always pray, despite the fact that she has been praying and it seems nothing was working. But she said she kept praying, and she sat him down and brought some of the things that she has learned from that prayer conference. And to the glory of God, she's seen some changes. And also we're able to hear from 1 or 2 women that their prayer lives has been changed. One, it is not the normal, let me say it in Hausa, Father, give me this, kabani one, but there was a change in the modalities of how they pray. I think that also is an impact. And another thing I want to say is that we're able to have, the support of the women. I think we had from, I could remember Hadija were here, Roni were here. We have some women from Kiawa and Jamu. And these were women that were actively involved in the Christian Association of Nigeria Women Week. And when we were able to reach them out concerning that, it was a welcome idea. Why? Because they have never had an opportunity to gather and pray as women, even though we do it during our convention, but we don't have an avenue as such where women will also be taught how to pray. So this has created a great impact on the life of the women, and we're still trusting God that as time goes on, we know that the impact will still be felt. This is a particular ground, so to say, because it is a place where we are not allowed to thrive that much as a religious body. But when we have avenue as such that people will be brought together to learn some of these basics, I think we'll be able to break the fallow grounds, we're able to penetrate it. I want to say that the impact is much. One, the content of what was taught during the conference, they brought it down to the level of every woman that was in attendance for them to be able to understand. Looking at the terrain, it is a Hausa-speaking region, but they were able to break it down, trying to bring reality of life and the aspect of spirituality to balance it. I think when we put this together, it will be able to give us a good turnout, and that effect was a good one.
I represent Dando. I am the coordinator of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Dutse coordinator. I'm in contact with every home of Christ, for Christ. In fact, we have seen another open door for bringing the church together. That prayer conference actually bring women from every part of the local government in Jigawa State together in one place, which we have not had it before. That is the first time we come together like that in the prayer conference, just the women.
His Grace, Reverend Mrs. Ruth Dando. In Jigawa State, I happen to be the coordinator of the Wailing Women, and then the coordinator of the Nigerian Widows Praise, and then also an ambassador with the Laughing Women of Nigeria in Jigawa State. Our prayer days. So we came out, and the turn-up yesterday was very, very encouraging. We are about 15 of us that came yesterday. That's right. 15. Because of the prayer program that we had in February, there is great turnout of people coming out.
Wow.
So we give God the glory. Every Home for Christ has really helped, and it has impacted life.
It was indeed a moment of refreshing in Jigawa State as the women prayed for their various local governments and received books and materials on how to pray. Education was also given to them on the modalities of prayers, and Bibles were given to those who had none. It was a moment of revival, and this revival has come to stay.